from my trip to the Pocono Raceway, where I did a track event, and it ended early because I pulled into the garage and into my parking place and left the car for lunch. Came back about half an hour, and there was a rather large puddle of oil underneath the car. So back when I came back from Louisville, I did notice that the oil pressure gauge was acting strangely. It seemed to be normal, but then at around 2,000 RPM, it would get above that 80 PSI. And what I was noticing today was that at the track, it was at 60 or greater for most of the time, but I attributed that to just being running at higher RPMs and didn't really look at it when I was idling or going back to the garage. Just thought everything was normal. Anyway, after the puddle, which I got help cleaning up, climbed underneath the car. There were drips and wetness in the area of the bottom of the transaxle, near the engine, and that was the only thing I could find. And the crankcase oil level seemed about the same as when I had checked it, I don't know, a couple hours earlier in the day. I also pulled the speedometer sensor out to check the transaxle fluid level to see if maybe that's where it was coming from, but that seemed fine. Anyway, all that being said, I left the track early after packing up, and by the time I got to the interstate, which was like 20 miles, at almost every RPM above idle, the oil pressure was at or near the 80 PSI top level mark. And cruising at highway speed, it just kept creeping up and up and up until it was well pegged beyond. So, but the temperature gauge never really moved. Now it's sitting fairly high because I've been sitting still and talking. But as you can see, as soon as I give it some throttle, and again, now it's not going to do it. It seems like pressure is building up in the engine. And that pressure gauge, but what I was noticing when I was at speed, and yeah, it's not really doing it, it's still running higher than it should, but at speed on the highway, it was just really almost trying to bury the needle off on the right. But when I was in traffic just before getting home, stop and go traffic, when the idle came down, as I started to take off again, the pressure gauge, the needle would start to just kind of sit there, and all of a sudden it would jump. And so I don't know what the deal is. Like I said, it does seem high. This car's always seemed to have had a high oil pressure. Now I guess what I'll do is shut it off and see if there's a puddle behind the car. That will bring you back when I look underneath. Alright, that mark that you see there, that's just light coming through. But yeah, where I was seeing oil from before, crazy. It appears dry. So maybe the two things were completely unrelated, and maybe I just need a new sender. That's just crazy. And I don't know. We'll check the oil level again. See, maybe I just lost a bunch on the trip. car sat for about 10 minutes. I mean, it's still kind of at some temperature. Yeah, but look at the pressure gauge at idle, down low. So we'll give it some RPM, and it doesn't budge. All right, at higher RPMs, it starts to go up. And now you can see as I drop down, the gauge keeps climbing, and then it go back to idle, and it's up higher than before. And you kind of see the needle jumping around. Yeah, that's kind of wild, isn't it? That's the whole... Given the erratic behavior of the oil pressure gauge, I am thinking the problem is with the item that's mounted to the hot engine, not with the item mounted in the dash. So that is the top side of that sensor. I can get down past there. There we go. Not real clean. There's some clips that take this piece loose, and once that's loose, I'm hoping that this whole cover thing will just come off, and that will give me access to unscrew it with the hex there, 9/16, that's underneath the switch or the pressure sensor body. So that this plastic cover, enclosure, captor, whatever, is attached to the body of the sensor right there. So as you can see, with the 9/16 wrench up in underneath, and yes, 9/16, not metric, I'll be able to unscrew that. All right, there wasn't too much to it. The switch turned out okay, and it spun out of its hole fine. The new one already had some sealant on the thread, so I cranked it down and snug as I dare, and then reinstalled this, which just clipped underneath that lip, and then clipped around the body of the connector to keep it on. And so we're in good shape. Put the battery back in, the battery guard, and then fire it up and see what the pressure is. So this is with the new sender, and engine's warmed up, and driving on the freeway. So that's about what I expected to see. If I doesn't climb up any more than like 55, 60 psi, which is what it was before it started going wonky. So we're in good shape now. All right, coming out of the bottom of there is a 3/16 rubber hose, and that feeds the two windshield washer nozzles. And in working in this area, I broke the one-way check valve. So I went on to Amazon and I bought the first one that came up that said 3/16, which is the diameter of the hose. And this one, while if you blow one way, air passes, you blow the other way, it doesn't. That pump doesn't have the power to overcome the small opening here. So air flows a lot easier than fluid. So I tested it, and indeed, without this, the pump had plenty of pumping power, was shooting quite the stream. But with this, it just couldn't overcome. It was a trickle. So I've ordered another one that's specifically for a car. Hopefully that one will do it, and we'll go from there. The other thing I finally got around to do is install this water diverter between the rear glass and this leading edge of the engine cover. And fortunately, these clips, while they have holes and so forth in them for screws, you don't need the screws. Friction and the design of this diverter, and I'll include the contact information for the guy. I don't know how many more, if any, he's going to make, but the install of this was quite easy. The end that goes under the glass, there's a sheet metal right angle, and the short end stub just slides under the glass, and it sits in there nicely, and then these clips hold the other end. And I don't know if you can see down in there, doesn't look like it, but when this is closed, or even when it's open now, the water can't run down and get to the front of the engine. And I don't know if you remember me showing you the spark plugs. The 3 that were in these 3 cylinders were terribly rusty, and I imagine that is the reason why. So whereas the ones in the front were not at all. So I'm hoping that water diverter is the solution to rusty spark plugs.